Hi everybody, it's Annie. Thank you so much for tuning in. This video is part 2 of my Journey to Home series where I talk about different locations that I've called home over the years. This video is about my college home. So I'm going to take you on all of the homes in college that I lived in throughout my experience. So let's get started with the makeup product. Today's makeup product is the Morphe Cheek Thrills. It is a blush, 3 different solutions. It's a cream, highlighter, and a powder brush. This is in the shade After Party Nude Rose. So this is my first time trying this product. It is new with Morphe, so I'm really excited to try it. Let's open it up. So here's what it looks from the outside. It has a cute little M. This is the back. It is super cute. We're going to open it. Also has a little thing that says Morphe right there. So I'm going to open it up. Love it. Wow, 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 wow. It has this clear lift to cover these 2 blushes. It has 3 different solutions and their shading is a little bit different. I'm going to layer it with the cream first, the powder, and then end it with the sparkly highlighter blush. I'm going to use this brush and I'm going to go in with the cream blush, and I'm just gonna dab it and get it on the blush. So let's go ahead and go in. Okay. Love. Cute. This is a cute shade. Love that. And I'm going on the apples of my cheek. I feel my bone, and that is where the sun hits. So that's where you would get sunburned naturally. That is where you place the blush. And it's cute. I think it's super cute. You can kind of see it. Then I'm kind of gonna go on my nose too. Cute! I like it. Okay, and then we're gonna go in with the powder. This has a little bit of sparkle, I see. It's very subtle though. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna do that, and I'm just gonna go over it. Just add on to it. And this one, I'm gonna kind of blend. Cute. And you really have to kind of blend this. But overall, I mean, I think it's kind of cute. Then I'm going to finish up with the highlighter one. And I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to place that one a little higher on it. So it really hits the light. Gets that sparkle in the light. The high point. Cute! Okay. Love it. So that is the look. Don't mind this. This is my eczema. So don't mind that. It's eczema. Got eczema. Don't mind this. Okay. So that is the blush. Cute. I like it. So I'm gonna just finish it off with some powder. This is the look of the powder of the blush after I put some finishing powder on. It's super cute. It's very subtle and playful. I love it. And you do see a little bit of that shine and sparkle. I love it. It's so cute. The Morphe Cheek Thrills Trio Blush. Super cute. It's a new product and I love it. Cool. Let's get started with the video. my college homes. So I lived in 4 different locations during college. My first year, I did the university dorms. So I shared a room with one roommate. It was a big room, and we had our beds, a desk, and our closets. So there was no really privacy. We kind of just shared a big room, and we would kind of divide our space by our desks and our closets. And our bathroom was shared throughout the whole floor. So we had a bathroom with 3 different showers, 4 stalls, and 2 sinks. And everyone would have their shower caddy, and they would bring it to use the shower and do their nightly and morning routine. So it was a communal bathroom. When you dorm, you also go through the meal plans, and in the dorm area, the what is it called? The cafeteria? I don't even know what it's called anymore. The cafeteria? Y'all, I don't even know what it's called anymore. But the area that you would eat at, okay, was really close to the dorms. It was just kind of like the block. It was in the same vicinity. And so everything was really close together, and you live in the dorms, so you're close to campus. It was just a hill down or another hill, and the bus stop is right there. So everything's very convenient, and everything is very close. The positives was I got to experience the university dorm experience. I think that it is worth it experiencing the dorm environment, because that to me is part of the university experience. It's part of the college experience. And so being able to live with somebody and sharing a dorm and doing the meal plans and really living close to campus, not having to commute because you're already on campus, I think you get the full college university experience. It is expensive. It is expensive. It costs more, I'd say, living in the dorms and paying for a meal plan than it is if you were to live at home and feed yourself, because you can kind of control those meals and how much you spend more, versus if you do the meal plan, you have set meals and you have to use those by the time the quarter ends. And so it's a little bit of a different, you don't have as much flexibility and freedom, but I think it is worth it for the experience. Me personally, I was not in the best mental state my first year, and so I did not try to be outgoing and make friends within my dorm community. I was really struggling with my mental health, and so I was just not in the right mental space to really be outgoing and make friendships. And so I had a different experience. I think for me, it was hard for me to adjust. But overall, I am grateful for the experience because I got to know what the dorm life looked like, even though I was kind of in my own little world and wasn't super open and friendly to everybody. I was kind of just in my own zone. Then my second year, I moved into my first apartment with my first friend that I made at my university. 2-bedroom apartment, 1 bath. It was so cute. I had a little kitchen and a little bar area. That was my favorite. It was so cute. A little bar area with some like studio lights. So cute. And then I had a little dining area and a living room. And it was a good amount of space for 2 girls. I loved it. And our bedrooms were good size too. It was such a great independent experience being able to do that on your own. Obviously, as broke college students, we had to have co-signers, but being able to experience what it's like to sign a lease, to tour apartments and go through the process of the paperwork and having the responsibility of going into the portal and paying your bills and making sure your bills are paid. That was really the first time that her and I experienced that. I think the positives is you get to feel more independent because you are the one searching for the apartment, you are the one checking how much rent is going to be, and you are kind of making these adult decisions on your own, but with a friend, with support. But you have it puts you in a position where you're really thinking about what you like, your lifestyle, your preference of living and location. There's a lot more adult decisions and a lot of factors that you have to really reflect on. And I think that is a beautiful experience being able to do that during university, during college. For me specifically, that was the time where I was becoming more introverted. And so having the environment of my home feeling like I can spend all day in that area was really important to me. And so being able to see the different apartments and seeing what fits. I think that was the first time really experiencing what it's like to choose something for myself in my own power. So it was beautiful. And then my third year, I moved into a house with some of my girlfriends. So the roommate that I had the apartment with, we moved in with three other girls in a 5-bedroom house, 2 bathroom. It had a living room, a big living room, and a kitchen. A home is a little different than an apartment. You're on your own little plot of land, and you don't have any, right door next door neighbors. You're kind of living with these people. Those are your neighbors. Those are your roommates. And so there was also a yard, and so we were responsible of making sure that the yard was being mowed. So there was a little bit more responsibilities that we got to take account for, but there was also a little bit more freedom. It was the first time living with 4 other girls, and so that was an adjustment of making sure that we had enough fridge space and keeping the area clean for others. And so there was more people that I had to take account for. We lived a little farther from school, and so we had to take the bus, or if we walked, it took a little longer. That's what it is when you rent a house at university. You don't live so close to campus. My first apartment was very, very close to campus. And so that was walking was the commute, and that was great for exercise. And so this one, we had to take the bus. The apartment responsibilities versus the home responsibilities is different. And so that's the positive, getting to experience that before it gets super serious, because you're just doing it as a college student. And so there's no real responsibility. You're not taking in a mortgage, you're just renting. And so there's less responsibility, but there's different factors. And so I enjoyed that experience. It's a positive experience, especially when you can do it with people that you get along with. I think that's what makes a good experience. And so that's my third year. And then my fourth year, my husband and I, we decided to get an apartment together for the first time. So that was the first time that my high school sweetheart and I decided to start living together. That was a big moment for us, and I'll talk a little bit more about details of that in my next video next week. But yes, after the college house, Keith and I moved into our first apartment. Reflecting back on all the homes that I lived in 4 different homes while I was going to school. I am so glad that each year I had a different space that I was calling home, and I got to really feel the full experience of university. It was a good introduction of adulthood. It also helps you understand yourself a lot better, and you get to observe and see how you behave, how you react, how you problem solve, things that work for you. You cook a lot, or if you don't cook a lot, or if you host a lot of things, or if you like your quiet space. You learn a lot about yourself through those experiences. And I'm glad that I changed it up each year so that I can make the most out of my college experience. So it was great. Those are the positives. I think the negatives is you just kind of get to know yourself, and sometimes it's not pretty. Okay? In college, for me, like college are the messy years. Okay? Because your first it's your first time outside of your childhood home, and you're really having this freedom, and you're really exploring yourself. And so you make a lot of mistakes, and you get messy, and you really just act a fool, because you're young and you're naive, but also you think that you're grown. And so you make just a lot of mistakes. I look back and I'm just like, thank God I grew up. you know, thank God I grew from that. So college is a confusing, messy time, but it's it's the process of growing up. You have to have the years of messiness of just not knowing what the heck you're doing and making a lot of mistakes, and then growing from that and taking ownership and accountability and learning behavior, how your behavior impacts others. There was a lot of change happening, and so my mental health already wasn't at a good spot. So when I have mental health and changes and a messy, confusing time, it is a recipe for cray cray. Okay? College was cray cray, but I'm so glad that I went to school and I graduated and got my degree and chose to live in different environments each year because I look back and I'm like, that's a pretty crash course in like a couple years, and I just kind of did it, and I don't know how I did it. I don't know what, it's a bit of a blur. It really is. It's a bit of a blur. But I look back and I'm like, I learned a lot. I learned a lot and I lived. I lived. And that's the point. So that's my college experience and the different locations that I called home over the years. I hope you enjoy. Next week, I will be getting into the very first apartment that Keith and I lived in and details about living with a romantic partner. Thank you so much, and you will see me next week. Bye!